Welcome or welcome back. It is time for another bookish vlog. June has been just one of the most magical months for me. It is my birthday month. It's usually when I get to go on a short family vacation. It's just such a fun month, and it's just truly when reading picks up for me and I get to start reading all of the summer books, and I just put myself in the mood with the books that I'm reading. So in this vlog, we are just going to do a bunch of bookish things. I'm going to be compiling a lot of clips from a lot of different things that have happened so far this month. I have gone book shopping for my birthday. I've been reading a ton. And then I just came back from a vacation where we visited two of my favorite bookstores. I'm going to be taking you along for all of that. We are going to recap my June reading, go through the books that I've read, and then we're going to talk about my July and August summer reading TBR. And also, my library does do a summer reading program for not just kids, but adults too. So we're going to pick up our summer reading challenge card and start knocking out some of the things on that list. Back 45 minutes ago. Quickly made myself some lunch and just kind of got back on my computer. I threw on a YouTube video, so I'm hanging out in my living room because it's 90 degrees outside, which means it's probably about 80 degrees in my office. And we're still not putting the AC on, but that's probably gonna change tomorrow. We'll see. Did something that I'm not gonna tell you about yet, but did something earlier today while I was out of the house I'm very excited about. And then I took myself on a controlled but out of control shopping spree. And I went to Target and I went to a bookstore. So let me show you what I picked up. Target, I just got a new pajama set because this is also a replacement. My navy pajamas are on their last leg and I love them. So I just got a new pajama set. Book of the month came, so that's basically a birthday present. Summer's Never Over. It kind of was like giving a little bit like We Were Liars vibes, but also like mystery at summer camp. So that should be a fun little thriller. And then from the bookstore, I picked up a paperback. I love a paperback copy of The Favorites. I read it last year. It was one of my favorite books last year. Read it on my Kindle. Have been trying to thrift it, and I figured now is time to just treat myself to a copy now that it's out in paperback. And then I picked up one of Taylor Jenkins Reid's book that I have not read yet, Maybe in Another Life. I have literally loved every book from her, so I know I'm gonna love it. And this one is kind of that dual timeline storyline of if she goes this way, this will happen. If she goes that way, that will happen. And we get both storylines. And then I picked up Ashley Poston's 7-Year Slip, which is one of her older books. I actually was trying to find her new book, but two of my bookstores don't have it. So I figured, let me just sit on it, read something from her backlist. That sounds really good. And then I can always go buy that one. I'll have someone pre-order it for me. So that was my little shopping spree. to recap our June reading. I had a very good reading month. I feel like the start of this year has been a little slow. I did a lot more audio than physical book. And then in April, I really wanted to start working through my actual physical TBR. And that has been like my main focus, is trying to pick books that I own and said I want to read and actually reading them. And I would say June, we did pretty well with that goal. So in June, I read 5 books. 3 of them came off of my physical TBR. And then 1 was a new release and 1 came off of an Audible book that I guess it was technically a physical TBR, but it was an Audible physical TBR. Book number 1. This book made me think of you. I really, really enjoyed this book. I do believe this is a right person, right time to really enjoy it. Rate it like a 4.755 star. I think anybody else would probably put this in like the 3.5, 4 category. But this book made me think of you. Is probably going to fall into like the women's fiction with a side of romance, but and we are just focusing on our main character, who is Tilly, and she is working through the grief of having just lost her husband to cancer. And then on New Year's Day, after he has passed away, so a few months after he's passed away, Tilly gets a message from the local bookshop that there's a package for her, and she's confused because she didn't order a package. And it turns out that her husband has set up a year of books, and that he has picked out a book for every month for the next year for her to read. And it really becomes this beautiful story of working through grief, but also finding yourself again after grieving something and losing something that you thought was your future. So if you are someone who's working through either the loss of a loved one or even just like the loss of a life you plan to have, I found this book really encouraging, and it kind of inspired me to also want to have that kind of adventure and want to find the books and say yes to the things that would like spark joy, add whimsy, and like continue and like help me continue building the life that I want to live. Overall, it's a really beautiful read. It's an easy read, and I really enjoyed it. So I love that it is trending. I did get it as my book of the month, and I've really enjoyed it. So book number 1. The second book I read was a new release. I read Our Perfect Storm, which is Carly Fortune's newest book. But I did get it on Libby, so I read it on my Kindle. I read it in a week. This was probably like a 3.5. It is not my favorite. Of all the ones I've read, this is probably my least favorite. And I think it's just because it is a fun romance summer story, as they all are. But it is almost too predictable to the point where that twist that you think is going to be a twist is exactly what I thought it was, 2 chapters into the book. So what happens in this story is our main character is at her wedding weekend, and she wakes up the day of her wedding with a note for her fiance saying, I'm sorry, I can't marry you. And, she falls apart. She doesn't know what happened, but there's a conversation where her ex-fiance really wants her to still go on the honeymoon they planned. And her male best friend, George, who was supposed to be her man of honor at her wedding, comes on this trip with her. And, there's no spoilers here. We watch them build a relationship. So that is the romance that we are getting, and it is a fun romance to watch. Part of it is painful of like, how could you be so dense? How could you miss that this is what was happening? But also it is a fun relationship to watch happen, and it is dual timelines, so we get to get glimpses of their past together when they were kids growing up. And I love how she writes. I love the story she tells. I love that Carly Fortune makes me fall in love with Canada. I just didn't love this story, so I'm happy I read it, but it's not the top read for me this month. I'd probably give it like a solid 3, just because I did enjoy reading it. I just wasn't I just didn't find the story that engaging for me. Book number 3 was Just for the Summer. I am 100% moving into my summer reading, which is beachy books, lakey books. It better have a body of water on the front. That's what I want to read. And Abby Jimenez books I find so easy to consume, read, and enjoy. And that's what this book was. I read it in about 4 days and I loved it. I thought it was a really cute story. I love being transported into her stories and her storylines, and I love the interconnecting from different stories. So Just for the Summer is book 3 in a series of Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and then Just for the Summer. We are following Emma, who believes she's cursed and has a bit of a good luck charm problem of after someone breaks up with her, they tend to find the person they're going to marry. And she connects with Justin, who has the same story. He also seems to have this trend of after someone breaks up with him, they find the one. So for the summer, they decide that they are going to date so that they can help each other find the one after they break up. Emma's a travel nurse, so she never stays in one place for more than like 6 weeks at a time. And romance, fun, really cute relationships ensue. There is a lot more to this storyline than just the romance, which is why I like the Abby Jimenez book. She usually is also tackling something more complicated in life, and she handles it with a level that you feel like she has experienced it and she knows what she's talking about when she writes about these things. So we get to see more than just a romance. We actually get to see someone work through some really deep, heavy issues that they've needed to work through their whole lives. We just love an easy romance that also tackles some heavier topics in a way that is consumable and you walk away understanding people a little bit more. And that's what I love about all the books that she writes. At the same time, and then I paused and I went back into it. I started the audiobook to another Abby Jimenez book because that's what I happen to have in my library ready to go. So I listened to the Happy Ever After playlist, which is one of her older books. And it is just a cute little watch the romance happen story. It starts with the main character finding a dog, calling the owner, and it ends up being this guy, Jason, who is a musician, and he didn't get any of the messages because he actually was in Australia and didn't have his phone for 2 weeks. But they start talking while he's still in Australia. And then when he comes back to LA, they meet, and it's a pretty like electric relationship from the start. They're so cute together. I love the dialogue between the two characters. It's very quick to listen to / read, and you're immediately rooting for them to like be in love, which is what you want in a romance. So I'm just like rooting for them. I want this to happen. And I liked most of the conflict, although I will say some of the conflict is the miscommunication trope and the, assuming something instead of saying something out loud. And I do often find myself yelling at a book, like just say what you mean, or say what you saw, or say what you think, and talk it out rather than blowing up and just like trying to destroy a relationship over an assumption. So I don't love miscommunication tropes, and that does come up in this book, but overall it is like a beautiful romance unfurling. You really root for both of the characters. You get both points of view and you like them both. They're both likable main characters. So I really liked it. I really like the side characters, and I'm looking forward to continuing more of Abby Jimenez's backlist so that I can have read all of these books and met all of her characters. And the last book that I read for the month was the third installment from the Thursday Murder Club, which is The Bullet That Missed. I think I talk about the Thursday Murder Club series a lot just because I'm not a big like thriller mystery person. Like I don't want to be scared when I read, but I do love a little bit of a whodunit vibe. And these books just give me that with a side of so much comedy. The characters that Richard Osman has developed, the main characters as well as the side characters who kind of have developed through the series and continue to be introduced into new books. They are just so funny, and I love the perspective of like, life is not black and white. It's pretty much gray. And these main characters work with the police, but they also work with like professional criminals. And they all seem to be coming together to solve murders and cold cases and mysteries. And I am so amused reading these books. I laugh. I think the way it is written is really quippy and really quirky, but very fun. And even the mystery itself, the murder they're trying to solve, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have you can almost figure these things out, but you really do need the story to tell you what happened. So another great book from Richard Osman, and I'm looking forward to reading book number 4 soon. So those were the 5 books that I read in June. Great reading month, some really high rated books for me, and I am ready to just like totally tackle my summer TBR, which is quite the pile that I'm about to show you. So my goal right now is to try to read all of these books before the end of summer. So rapid fire, here's what's coming up, hopefully over the next 2 months. I probably should have read this one while I was in Long Beach Island, but I didn't. A Salty Piece of Land. I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan. My parents raised me on his music. I love his music. And so he's written a few fiction books, and I'm kind of excited to dive into it. I read his memoir, A Pirate Looks at 50, last year, and really enjoyed just like getting into his brain and seeing like his story. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he did as a fiction author. I picked this book up last summer and it's time to read it. It is called Summer Sisters, and it is written by Judy Blume. We are going to be following Caitlin and Victoria, also known as Vix, who meet as friends on Martha's Vineyard. They have a beautiful friendship, but something has happened and they have a fallout. And now, years later, Vix is working in New York City. Caitlin is getting married on the vineyard, and the early magic of their long, complicated friendship has faded. Caitlin begs Vix to come to her wedding to be her maid of honor. And Vix knows that she will go because she wants to understand what happened during that last shattering summer. And after all these years, she needs to know why her best friend still has the power to break her heart. So I'm looking forward to kind of reading that. I feel like this is going to be an easy read. And, you know, if I need a break from romance, this will be a good option because a lot of this pile is romance. One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. I did read in 5 years. And it was a good story, so I know that I will like her writing. I like her as an author. And now with this one, there's a piece of magical realism to it, but we are going to Italy. We are grieving the loss of our mother, but she also finds the younger version of her mother while she's in Italy. So we're gonna kind of watch like the healing of a relationship, and also, you know, and also watch Katie deal with the grief of losing her mom and moving forward in life. So One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. Then I've got Wait For It by Jen McKinley. I'm worried about this one because I recently read Paris is Always a Good Idea if you watch that reading vlog. I didn't love it. And this is written by the same author. We are going to be following our main character, Annabelle, as she moves to Arizona to take a dream job. And she feels like she has a curmudgeon landlord that she has to deal with when she finally meets him. He is her age, but he has gone through something which has kind of turned him into a curmudgeon. So we're going to watch that relationship evolve and probably watch, hopefully, Annabelle evolve along the same route. Something tells me I'm going to have an unlikable female main character again. But I really hope that's not the case, and I do hope I enjoy this, but this might be in DNF. We'll see what happens. Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I really enjoyed reading Nora Goes Off Script, and I feel like this is going to be written in a similar manner with a similar storyline, and I am looking forward to it. So we are going to be following our main character, Allie, as she enters her first romance after her marriage ended, and she's assuming it will be a just for the summer romance, have a little fun, get back out there. But knowing how Annabelle likes to write her stories, I have a feeling it's going to be more than just a summer romance. And then I'm hoping to plan a trip down to New York to visit family and spend a little time in everyone's favorite city. So I've got Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This came out last year, and Summer in the City is described as a swoony, fast-paced rom-com set in New York City, in which a screenwriter and a sexy tech CEO go from lovers to enemies and back to lovers again. So that'll be a very interesting relationship to watch. I'll be interested in how the conflicts come about and how they are resolved. The book I'm currently reading that I just started is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. So I am steamrolling right into my summer romances and finishing my backlist of Carly Fortune books. So far I've read like a chapter, And I just know I like her writing. I enjoy her storytelling. So I'm looking forward to reading this story and seeing how that goes. The last one I got is a bit of a thriller mystery, Summer's Never Over. We are going to be revisiting a time in our main character's life where she was away at camp with her friends and someone dies, and there's a lot of secrets attached to that death and what happened that night. And for Greer, what is her first name? Yeah, Greer's life, she's kind of kept it as a secret, but now she has to go back to this area to also deal with the death of her mom. And while she's there, a lot of this history is going to come up, and we're going to find out what happened that fateful summer. So a little bit of that thriller mystery, hopefully not too spooky for me. I don't think it will be. This kind of fits the bill of what I'm looking for when I don't want romance or fiction and I do want thriller. So this will be a fun little different summer read for me. I lied because there's 2 more books downstairs that I don't physically have on me, but while I was in Long Beach Island, I picked up 2 books, and that is These Summer Storms, which is definitely giving We Were Liars, kind of like old money, family, estate along the water, mysteries, secrets, all these sorts of things. I kind of spoiled We Were Liars for me before I could read it, so I'm looking forward to reading a similar story that I don't know how it ends. And then I also picked up a book by a New Jersey author titled Here. And I don't know, I realized that I've never really read a book based in New Jersey or on the Jersey Shore for a summer read, and that's where I grew up and that's where I vacation every year, so I had to go grab that one. So that's also on the pile. So it's only like 10 books over the next 2 months, which I do read between 4 and 5 books a month. We just gotta like rock and roll through them and have a good time doing them. So that is what I read in June. That is what I plan to read in July and August. And we are going to have the rest of the week just be a very bookish adventure. We are going to the grocery store because I don't have anything healthy in my fridge right now. And it's a heat wave. And my friends want to go for a run at 8:30 tonight. So that means I need to go to the grocery store and find some healthy food that I can have for an early dinner and not feel like junk while we do speed work in 85-degree weather. Runners are weird, I know, but this gives me an opportunity to use my Playaway. These are awesome. I was introduced to them as something that kids could have, but it is exactly what it looks like. It's a portable audiobook. That's not like a book on tape. It's an MP3. And you just plug your headphones into it and you can listen to your audiobook without using your phone. So I find that I can find books that like aren't available readily on Libby as playaways, and my local library just got like a whole set brought in. So now instead of having to get them transferred from other libraries, I can just like go to the adult playaway section and get an audiobook that doesn't require a screen. And I kind of love that when I'm trying to be like a little less on my phone. So we're gonna plug in the audiobook, go grocery shopping, make dinner, and then I probably won't read again until tonight, but I can get like a couple chapters done this way. Gotta get my reading card, kid. It is so stinking hot out. I've been melting for like 2 days straight and the hair proves it, but I have to go pick up my bike because I got it all fixed up at my local bike shop. So we're going to listen to more of our book using the playaway. So it's kind of fun to do the little like read when I can read, an audiobook when I can audiobook, and just keep it all in one story. So we're gonna do that, go pick up my bike, get home, and then figure out what the rest of my night looks like. Grabbed the bike, also grabbed the Starbucks because I have been craving like a sugary drink all day. And even though it's dinner time, I couldn't help myself. So just a strawberry and cream Frappuccino to get me through the next 25 minutes of driving. Good morning. We are a whole vibe to start the day, but I am photographing a wedding for like 10-ish hours today, so we are just starting off with the self-care that is required. But I wanted to quickly talk about this summer will be different because I'm like 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through this book and I haven't chatted about it. That's just because I kind of like ripped through it yesterday on audiobook throughout the whole day. And I just want to chat. So, one, really enjoying it. I just love Carly Fortune's like writing style. I don't know what it is about how she writes books, but she does make the characters feel like real people. She does make me feel like I'm immediately invested in their story. I think she does a good job of developing likable characters that you want to root for, even if they are unlikable characters. So our main character here, Lucy, she's 29 and she's got a lot to figure out. She's been through a lot, but she's got a lot to figure out. And that's kind of what I feel like the first half of this book was. It was, while it is a romance book, we have kind of finally just gotten into like the meat of the romance. And besides that, we've gotten a lot of her other life dynamics, her career, her friendships, her family, as well as the building relationship with our male main character, Felix. Essence of the story is Felix is Lucy's best friend Bridget's brother, and the first time they meet, they don't know that. And so after they have a night together, she learns that he is her best friend Bridget's brother, and that they can't have a relationship because of that due to some past history. And so it's a lot of like, there's chemistry, but they're trying to ignore it over the years that they spend together. I feel like I've really enjoyed getting to know the character. She's slightly unlikable because I will say, like, she's one of those people that's like really stressed out and like putting her career first and forgetting about her friends and her relationships, which happens. And I'm excited to see the development that comes out of the storyline. I'm looking forward to watching her grow into the person she wants to be. And I'm definitely looking forward to the romance coming to fruition, which should be happening soon. There is a bit of a secret that we don't know yet that has been alluded to a lot, that Bridget's not telling Lucy something. I have a feeling I know what it is. So we will see when we get to that kind of third act conflict if I'm right or if it's something different. So that is my update. I'm going to keep reading a little bit today. A lot of time in the car, so we're probably going to switch to audiobook. And I have a feeling I'm going to be done with this either today or tomorrow. So let's keep reading. Let's wrap this up. I did finish This Summer Will Be Different, and I loved it. Much like all Carly Fortune books, I loved it. Things that I really liked about this story, I found our main characters very likable. Like, the way that Carly wrote these characters, you did care about them, you did like them, and you did want them to find the love that this book wants you to root for. One of the biggest things for me in most of Carly Fortune's books, especially in this book, is our main character, Lucy, is going to grow more than just in this relationship. So yes, this is a romance category, but in the same sense, we're getting a lot of personal growth from Lucy as well. There's more layers to the story, more than just romance of how do she and Felix come together? Do they fall in love? Do they stay together? That's a part of the story, but there's also dynamics of best friendship, growing up, losing someone you love, and just trying to figure out who you want to be when you grow up, even if you're already technically grown up and in your late 20s. So I really enjoyed this story. I rooted for the main characters. I like how it ended. And it's one of those books that I wish I could like read again for the first time. For me, I rate Carly Fortune books, I feel like, higher and differently because I've just put them into a different category. This is a 4, maybe a 4.5. I would definitely recommend it to people. I think it's a great read. I think it's an easy read. It took me like 4 or 5 days to read it casually. So really good story. Loved reading it. Wish I could read it again, like I said, but it's not my favorite Carly Fortune, so it doesn't get to be a 5-star. But this one will be different. Was a really fun read, a great summer book, and it has me wanting to book a trip to Prince Edward Island. So I feel like that's the point. I swear, the more I read these books, the more I just want to go travel in Canada, and I think that's part of the point of this author's work. So great book, highly recommend. On to the next one for me. I'm actually reading a like mystery thriller called Summer's Never Over, and it's good, but I immediately got spooked by it, so I can't read it at night. So I think I'm gonna start a more lighthearted read that I can read at night, and then read this book during the day and in the morning. So we're gonna be on a little bit of a 2-book journey for the next week, but I really like my book. I just can't read it at night. So I need something I can read at night. Last thing I just wanted to talk about, I did pick up the adult summer reading program from my town library. It's really fun. So they put it together for about 8 weeks. And every week of the summer, 5 checks equals 1 prize. And it's not just reading, but the things that you can do to check off a box are attend a library program, read for 1 hour, audiobooks count, do a creative activity, learn something new, or try something new. So I really like this, that this is kind of encouraging us to move into a more analog, more creative, more whimsical kind of summer of, yes, it's for reading, and I can check all 5 boxes just by reading for 5 hours a week, but I also can be encouraged or motivated to try something new, to break out a craft that I haven't done before, do something creative that I like to do at home, and also check out what's going on around town and at the library. So it's a fun little program. It's not policed in any way. This is all like self-checked, self-done. And when you finish off a week card, you can bring it in and submit it either to grab something off of the adult prize cart, which had things like stickers and tote bags and blind dates with the book, or you can actually just turn it in as a credit to get a book from our used bookstore, which usually has books between like $1 and $3. So a very fun way to get some prizes and motivate my reading. I'm gonna hand in this first week that I got done next time I go to the library and keep working through it all summer. So that wraps up this reading vlog. We've done so much over the past like 4 or 5 weeks. Summer lends itself to being a more free version of yourself, where you can kind of lean back in to what summers looked like when we were kids, when we had to go outside or we didn't have phones to scroll on. So really enjoying my first couple of weeks of summer. Thank you so much for coming along on this little bookish vlog, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.